I find it rather interesting that Marvel have released 2 trailers for upcoming projects when Comic-Con is only a couple weeks away. This really seems to tell me something. It seems to tell me that Marvel want to quickly get these projects out of the way, so at Comic-Con they can say, well, we've already shown you trailers for those, so those aren't a surprise anymore, so let's not focus on those. We'll give the release date for these, for Agatha and Captain America Brave New World, but now let's move on to the stuff that you haven't seen. I think they're trying to deliberately just quickly throw these projects out because they know they're going to be failures. That's my guess. Because why else would they release 2 trailers so close to Comic-Con, which is where they would normally try to save everything for? So, curious, it really is. I do think Marvel are trying to just throw these 2 projects under the bus. So, yeah, let's give this trailer a watch and see what I think. We know this movie has been reshot, like practically the whole film got reshot a second time. So let's see how you know, is this a mishmash trailer? Are they going to be using their new footage or old footage? I don't know, let's see. Did they just reference the fact that they got a new actor to play Ross? I'm just gonna quickly say that the way they did it is very much like Fresh Prince, how Jazz came in and says, you know what, Mrs. Banks? You look different.
You know, Miss Banks, since you had that baby, there's something different about you.
I have to admit, I'm still getting used to the new look.
That was a bit too on the nose. I know they're trying to throw it off and say, oh yeah, I got rid of the mustache, but I think they just shouldn't have done it and just called him Ross and be done with it, like with every other recasting. I mean, you didn't see Christian Bale in The Dark Knight say, hey Rachel, I like the new look. It's silly. You just don't... I feel like they should not reference, in a fourth wall breaking kind of way, the new casting for a character, I think. Okay. First of all, I'll say the trailer, the style that the editor who edited this trailer went with, very good style. The only problem is that I've always said this, we know that Marvel always try to hide what their actual movies are like with intense trailers. So this trailer feels like it's trying to be all serious and everything, but I feel like they're deliberately hiding all the jokes that are in there, and the fact that they even referenced the recasting of Ross in this movie with a kind of a fourth wall break joke just tells me I think there's going to be more humor in this than this trailer is letting on. So you can't trust this trailer. I do like this. Was this supposed to be Isaiah from, was it the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show? Didn't he say he was being tortured and stuff? I think it was, it's been such a long time since I've seen the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but was it some Winter Soldier programming stuff that went on? If so, it's interesting if he gets, reprogrammed, but that's about the only interesting thing in this trailer, really. If I was Sam Wilson and Ross came up to me, I'd be like, when he goes, we haven't met eye to eye in the past and all that, we had disagreements, I'd be like, yeah, remember in Civil War when you locked us up for something that turns out we were all right about and you were wrong about? And then what happened afterwards with the Avengers when they disassembled because of you? It's like, they really need to hold Ross to his shit. I got annoyed when the Russo brothers completely ignored what Ross did in Civil War. No one threw the disaster of the Incredible Hulk and the Abomination in his face, and now I feel like Sam can throw the Abomination in his face here as well, because this is supposed to be having the characters from the Incredible Hulk reprising their roles in this. So I don't know why they just let Ross off so easy and let him talk crap to them. They should really be like digging into him and saying, what about this, and this that you've done? But they don't do that, which is annoying. I gotta say, I will say I like what Harrison Ford is doing. Acting-wise, you can tell when Harrison Ford just doesn't care. It seems like he's putting his actual work into this, so I like what Harrison Ford is doing. Let me look at this explosion again. It looked unreal. Like, all these missiles and everything, they just don't look real. There's something very polished and CG about it. Like, too clean. Look at all that. So yeah, I know this movie's coming out in February, so they got a lot of time to fix the effects, but I don't think they're going to fix these, given how much reshoots and stuff they do. I think that these are some effects that they're basically sticking to at this point. Also, when you look at some of the stuff in here that we've seen before, like this flip that he does, which was done in, I think it was Civil War. And I think that move looked a lot better in Civil War than it does here. There's just something about his costume, something about the way that the color correcting is done. It doesn't look like the color is making that costume look better. We've seen how in behind the scenes, how these costumes look very cheap, but then with the movie filter on, with the color correcting on, it gives it more plausibility. This feels like it's not finished yet, the color correcting on this shot, because his costume looks so cheap, and still looks like cosplay from that angle. And yeah, when you look at this, look again, do you see how CG this all looks? Like the fire on that battleship. Look at that. This looks so CG, none of it looks real. And even that electricity that is going on his shield at the top there, I was like, that looks a bit Disney Plus special effects. That, I saw this, I was like, that looks fake. Look at that. That looks like something out of Secret Invasion, when Secret Invasion would have like a, you know, which was $210 million. Yeah, looking at this, I'm not impressed with the visuals of this. The story, I like the elements that are there, but I don't think Marvel are smart enough to pull it off. I really don't think they are. And yeah, just, there's something very Disney Plus-like about this movie. This looks more like it's on par with the Falcon. Look at even this shot. You could tell it's all green screened. This looks very much like the Falcon and Winter Soldier show. But in some places, it even looks worse than that. I mean, seriously, can't they have just filmed him here? Why, maybe just put those broken trees in the background as special effects if they really wanted to? Why do they have to green screen this whole thing? That looks pretty decent. These effects look okay, but nothing special. This looks like a mix. I don't think this looks as good as the whole Falcon flying shot that we got in the Falcon Winter Soldier. You know, in the trailer, they put it in the Falcon Winter Soldier trailer, and I think it ended up in the first episode. That looks better than this, and this is supposed to be the movie. Also, this looks quite rubbery and plasticky, but I'll give them the benefit of a doubt with this, and I normally don't do that. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that they're gonna try and fix the effects with this Hulk, because they've still got till February. But 6 months left for a movie has not really proven in the past not to be enough time for Marvel to clean up their effects. So, I don't know, we'll have to see. But look at how plasticky he looks and like he's made of clay. Even the shine around his leg, I don't really like the look of that. And why does that crack look so CGI as well? I mean, this all looks like it's got a cheap MCU CGI layer over it, which I'm really hoping Marvel can just move away from. But anyway, let's look at that effect again. In motion. So that's supposed to be Ross, who's turning into a Red Hulk. Everyone knew he turned into a Red Hulk from the days of the Incredible Hulk. And you can see that Falcon is obviously fighting him by throwing a shield at him. So finally they're going to try to beat the shit out of Ross. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I think it's very curious to have a Hulk in a Captain America movie. We'll see how it goes. But I think it would have been more interesting to see Chris Evans, Steve Rogers. I was going to say Chris Rogers. I think it would have been more interesting to see Steve Rogers go up against a Red Hulk than it would be to see Falcon, who's now Captain America, because I really do not like that Falcon and Winter Soldier show. I just didn't. So seeing him here just feels like the sins of that show are making their way into here. If that show was great, I would have been super excited for this. I would have still been very, very cautious, because it's Marvel at the end of the day. You have to be, especially with the amount of reshoots they're doing, and they had to reshoot practically this whole entire film. So I would be very cautious. You'd be foolish not to be cautious, but I would be looking more forward to it. But because I hated that show, and that show I was looking so forward to, basically means I have little hope in this. So, yeah, it's coming out in February. I don't think that's going to bode well for it. I think a lot of people are just going to wait for it, and I think the reviews are not going to be that good either. Although I also heard a lot of rumors in this that there's a lot of Marvel trying to like do forced kind of like representation talk. Like at one point I think there was this rumor, but then a lot of other more reliable scoopers started scooping it up, saying that there's lines in here like a black man doesn't feel safe when he crosses the street, and they had something where I think Falcon walking on the was it Falcon or just another black guy? They said a black person was supposed to be walking on a pavement, and then a white person sees them and then crosses the road onto the other pavement, or the sidewalk as you say in America. I was like, that sounds like so on the nose. Like execution is everything, but that just seems too much like Marvel are trying to preach again. But anyway, that's smaller things. The bigger thing here is that I don't trust this movie. I don't trust it with Marvel. I don't trust it because of they had to rewrite and reshoot like 80 to 90% of the film, which is practically redoing a whole film. And the budget for this right now is reported to be like nearing $400 million already before marketing. So I think this is going to be a movie that it needs to make $1 billion just to break even. And I don't think it's going to do that given the current state of Marvel. And if Deadpool and Wolverine doesn't make $1 billion, I think it should, but if it doesn't, this movie is in deep, deep trouble, because then there's no chance this would make $1 billion. So yeah, comment below with your guys' thoughts on this. I think from a business perspective, this is very bad business. Not only because the show did not do a good job of building it up, but also because they seem to be overspending on this movie and they've had to like reshoot the whole thing, which would have just made more sense if they spent more time writing a good script before, you know, reshooting it the second time. But they want to be so quickly, they want to just so quickly get these out that they don't care if the script is not good enough. Then it turns out when they screen it for their employees as a screening, their employees don't like it, then they're like, oh shit, we gotta rewrite it. So it's like, why didn't you just spend that time rewriting it earlier rather than shooting it and then finding out it doesn't work and then rewriting it after you spent all that money? Marvel are just crazy. They really are. They need to fix this because they're having a real problem here, and they can't be a profitable company working and operating the way they are. So yeah, comment below with your thoughts on this trailer. I think the trailer itself was good, but I can just read between the lines, and with all this previous like information we've got from Marvel, like, you know, we've seen their trailers, then we've seen their final product. I don't have faith in this. I think this is a cool trailer that's trying to disguise a lot of the shortcomings of this film, and a lot of the shortcomings I've already picked up on in this, including the not just limited to the bad CGI, but also just the story beats in here. I'm feeling like we've done a lot of this, and I feel like the characters should have learned about working with Ross from Civil War, so they need to bring that up, but I think they're not going to. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed this sort of like analysis of this trailer from me, and stay tuned as I've got more videos and trailer reactions coming up on Patreon and YouTube memberships for you guys. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch all of you very soon. Take care.